Take a deep breath because the story you're about to hear moves faster than Dick Van Dyke's legendary soft shoe shuffle. Imagine reaching 99 and still having the nerve to say, "I'm just getting started." That single sentence captures everything ahead. The near disasters, the private regrets, the wild rumors, the shocking rescues, and the daily habits that explain why the man famous for singing "Put on a Happy Face" hasn't stopped smiling. Some of what follows has been whispered for decades. Some surfaced only recently. All of it reveals how a lanky kid from a town of 5,000 became an ageless icon, still dancing while most of his peers rest in quiet retirement. Dig was born on 13 December 1925 in West Plains, Missouri, a pinprick on the map. Money was scarce, but confidence was scarcer. As a child, he shrank from strangers until a single sip of bourbon at a church dance melted his nerves. The warmth relaxed his tongue and words spilled out. That discovery, emergency social lubricant, he later called it, would cast a long shadow. When the family moved to Danville, Illinois, fate loaded his homeroom with future stars: dancer Donald O'Connor, singer Bobby Short, and the cousin of actor Gene Hackman. Surrounded by talent, Dick finally dared to dream big. He even planned to become a minister, studying his pastor's cadence the way athletes study film. Then, at 16, doctors found a heart murmur and banned him from sports. Crushed, he drifted into drama class. The first applause hit harder than any touchdown, and a lifelong obsession was born. 2 years later, World War II raged. Dick quit school to enlist, but at 6'1" and only 130 pounds, the Army said no 3 times. He spent a week eating bananas non-stop until he squeaked past the weight minimum on the 4th try. Allergy tests barred him from flight duty, so the Army Air Forces shoved him behind a radio mic. Legend says his first audition happened in a latrine when an officer handed him a script to read. Flight time was born, and a career took off. After VJ Day, Dick returned home, spun records at WDAN, and watched an ad agency venture crash. Out of cash, he and girlfriend Marjorie Willett accepted a strange offer from the national radio show Bride and Groom: free wedding and honeymoon if they said their vows live before 15 million listeners. They agreed. Reality TV seeds were planted decades early, and the marriage would last 36 years. Failure stalked him, but he refused surrender. With buddy Phil Erickson, he formed the silent comedy duo Eric and Van, the Merry Mutes, lip-syncing to scratchy records in smoky West Coast nightclubs. 2,000 gigs honed timing, stamina, and audience control, laying the invisible foundation for everything that followed. In 1959, Dick cracked Broadway, but his first show folded after 16 performances. 5 months later, he landed the lead in Bye Bye Birdie. Critics predicted disaster. Audiences delivered ovations. At 35, he won a Tony, learning that popularity can be the sweetest revenge. Television beckoned. Carl Reiner's pilot, Head of the Family, had bombed, but producer Sheldon Leonard insisted it could soar with the right lead. Enter Van Dyke and a barely known Mary Tyler Moore. The Dick Van Dyke Show premiered in 1961, earning 15 Emmys in 5 seasons and redefining sitcom DNA. Hollywood pounced. First came the film version of Bye Bye Birdie, then Mary Poppins, where Dick famously paid Walt Disney $4,000 for the chance to play both Bert the Chimney Sweep and the crusty bank manager Mr. Dawes Sr. In 1968, he headlined Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, proving musicals could still conquer the box office. While audiences sang along, Dick's private life unraveled. Social drinks had morphed into dependency. By the early 70s, he checked himself into rehab, confessing he'd nearly offed himself. Withdrawal was brutal, but sobriety stuck after a morning when the smell of liquor made him ill. Sobriety couldn't mend everything. His marriage strained under distance and his affair with Michelle Triola, an assistant at his agent's office. The guilt tore him apart, and Marjorie battled prescription pill dependence. They divorced in 1984, yet maintained peace for their 4 children. When Marjorie died in 2008, Dick said it felt like losing part of himself. Heartbreak struck again in 1987 when granddaughter Jessica died from Ray's syndrome after aspirin for chickenpox. Devastated, Dick filmed public service announcements that helped slash pediatric aspirin use nationwide. Just as casting directors boxed him into nostalgia, Dick returned in 1993 as crime-solving Dr. Mark Sloan on Diagnosis Murder. Viewers devoured 8 seasons and 2 TV movies. His real-life son, Barry, played his on-screen son, sealing a family brand. Then a medical mystery. In the early 2000s, Dick heard relentless pounding in his skull, objective pulsatile tinnitus. After 7 years and countless tests, an online tip pointed to metallic resonance from titanium dental implants. Removal ended the torment overnight. In August 2013, Dick's Jaguar burst into flames on Route 101. Bystander Jason Pennington dragged him out seconds before it exploded. Photos of the charred shell went viral. Dick quipped, "Guess I wasn't done." Wildfires later menaced his Malibu home 5 times. The December 2024 inferno, with 90-mile winds, found 99-year-old Dick crawling with a garden hose until neighbors rescued him. The guest house burned. He resumed workouts a week later. Through it all, love burned brighter. In 2012, Dick married Arlene Silver, he 86, she 40. Critics sneered, but they kept posting goofy dance videos. Dick's answer to age gap questions: if someone laughs at your jokes, marry them. Math be damned. June 2024. At 98, Dick won a Daytime Emmy for a Days of Our Lives cameo, joking, "Had I known I'd last this long, I'd have taken better care of myself." 3 mornings a week, he proves it. Stretches, sit-ups, yoga, single-leg presses, dance steps between machines, 20-lap swims, then a nap. That summer, Spike Jonze filmed a Coldplay video in Dick's backyard. Barefoot, he rapped about gravity's loosened grip, charming millions and earning the nickname Grandpa Glitch after the clip crashed TikTok servers. Dick hits 100 on 13 December 2025. Instead of a farewell tour, he's writing 100 Rules for Living to 100. Chapters like Laugh at Gravity, Regret is a Useless Paperweight, and Plan Tomorrow but Choreograph Today. Rumor says Marvel wants him for a multiverse cameo. Insiders won't deny it. Applications soon open for Project 2100, his pledge to mentor 100 young performers. Only a handful of dawns remain before 13 December 2025, and Dick Van Dyke is plotting something no nonagenarian has tried before. Sources whisper about a one-night global live stream, equal parts variety show and charity telethon, beamed from a modest soundstage in Malibu. He wants Broadway dancers, surf rock guitarists, and a choir of local school kids belting Put on a Happy Face in 20 different languages. Every ticket sold online funnels money straight into arts programs that keep music in underfunded public schools, his favorite cause since the 1980s. But the party isn't just about nostalgia. Rumor says NASA has offered him a birthday greeting from the International Space Station, and Marvel Studios slipped him a cameo contract that would make him the oldest superhero in cinema history. Even wilder, he's choreographing a flash mob tap routine to erupt simultaneously in Times Square, London's Trafalgar Square, and Sydney's Circular Quay, each led by former students from his free Instagram dance classes. If he pulls it off, Guinness World Records will create a brand new category on the spot, called Largest Synchronized Tap Dance Led by a Centenarian. And that daring blueprint, sketched in bright markers across his kitchen whiteboard, sets the stage for one final lesson in unstoppable joy. In Danville, Dick graded silent film gags in a notebook, analyzing after-chuckle timing. He memorized Pastor Lee's soft-spoken sermons, realizing cadence beats volume. During his infamous banana binge to meet Army weight rules, he ate 48 bananas in 5 days, then avoided banana bread for 10 years. While touring as a merry mute, he shared grimy green rooms with Sammy Davis Jr., Ella Fitzgerald, and Lenny Bruce, absorbing techniques for surviving hecklers who pelted ice cubes. When producers nearly replaced him in Bye Bye Birdie,
Cheetah Rivera threatened to quit unless he stayed. Director Gower Champion wagered half his salary on Dick and won. Studio memos reveal Walt Disney worried British critics would hate Dick's Cockney accent, but test screening kids loved it. He still jokes apologizes for the accent at fan events. His sobriety wobble in 1991 nearly cost him diagnosis murder. Co-star Victoria Rowell threatened to walk if CBS cut him. Dick detoxed in 48 hours, returned with scripts annotated "No excuses," and never slipped again. Michelle Triola, infamous for inventing palimony, wrote lullabies for Dick's grandkids and taught him meditation. In her final days, he sang those lullabies back to her, calling the hospital room the softest chapel on earth. On diagnosis murder, Dick refused stand-ins, one slipping into an unplanned split on a polished floor. He yelled, "Gene Kelly would sue if I wasted this. Roll cameras." The take stayed in the episode. He shadowed surgeons at Cedars-Sinai, telling a resident, "Comedy is honesty sped up." The quote now hangs in their break room. Spike Jonze's plan: capture Dick in pure daylight, no choreography. Dick arrived with sidewalk chalk, drew hopscotch squares, coaxed crew into play, then freestyled a rap about gravity. Chris Martin insisted it run over the credits. Lo-fi remixes now stream on SoundCloud. Legs insured for $1 million? False. He preferred funding ukuleles for children's hospitals. Turned down a Tarantino role? True. He loved the dialogue, hated the climax. Secret cartoon rooster voice? Half true. NDA sealed, but fans recognize his giggle. Every set contract demands fresh flowers, scent therapy, not ego. Stan Laurel once gave him a phone number and said, "Call if Hollywood confuses you." Laurel soon died. Dick still dials the disconnected line when he needs humility. During 2020 lockdown, Dick taught free Instagram tap classes, reaching 62,000 viewers. On his 97th birthday, he played off-key theremin. EDM producers sampled it into viral club tracks dubbed geriatric dubstep. After the Jaguar fire, he bought a used Volvo wagon. If it explodes, I'll have space to stretch. Worth roughly $60 million, Dick shops clearance racks and funds dance scholarships. Each live talk ends with the "Put on a happy face" pledge. Spend one day complimenting strangers. The hashtag DYKDV tag spiked recorded kindness in LA County. Dick Van Dyke's story isn't just about success. It's about rebuilding after collapse, laughing after fire, and choosing movement over rust. He proves public stumbles aren't final chapters, broken marriages don't erase shared love, and a burning Jaguar can become a legendary punchline. If you ever feel too old, too late, or too broken, remember the man who crawled through wildfire at 99, then resumed leg presses a week later. He isn't immortal, but his spirit outshines statistics. Keep moving, keep forgiving, and, just like Dick, never forget to put on a happy face.